Welcome to this ninth lecture of compiler construction. In this lecture, we will try to get some knowledge about some basic concepts that are necessary to implement our own predictive parser. And these concepts are the concept of epsilon productions and some general grammar notations, and the concept of removing left recursion from grammar, and finally we will try to get some knowledge about the first function which we use to make our predictive parser. Okay, so the epsilon productions means the emptiness of some production, and here I try to explain this process with the help of this example. So for example, you want to show in a block of code that there can be multiple statements within that block, but if there is some possibility that that block can be empty, then how you can show that? Of course, with the help of epsilon production. So the epsilon is going to represent the emptiness of something. Okay, so here the block is going to be represented first by we want to show that the block is going to be started with this bracket, that's in fact a token, and then there is a non-terminal, that's the list of statements, and after that the block is going to be closed with this token of ending bracket. The list of statement can be in the form of a statement and then a semicolon and then the next list. Okay, so it means the within that list the all statements are separated by semicolon. So the list of statement can be empty. Okay, so the emptiness of something is going to be shown with the help of epsilon. And there are some possibilities within grammar that we have to show some formula, a general formula to represent something, and in such representations we use some standard notations. And the first thing is we can use starting lowercase letters like small a, b, c, etc. to represent some tokens or terminals, whereas the ending letters of lowercase are going to be represent a string of tokens. By string means that thing can be empty, or that can have one thing, or it can have multiple things. So the string of token means it can be empty, it can have one token only, or it can have multiple tokens. Okay, the starting uppercase letters represent non-terminals, and ending uppercase letters represent grammar symbol. So there is a difference between non-terminal and grammar symbol. Grammar symbol is more generalized term, because grammar symbol can represent terminal or non-terminal. So if you are not sure that at this point some terminal can come, as well as in some situations a non-terminal can also come, so the better approach is to use ending uppercase letters. Okay, and in general notations, capital S is usually used to represent a root node of grammar. By root node means we can also say that the start symbol of grammar, so that's why it is usually represented by capital S. And finally, the Greek letters like alpha, beta, gamma represent string of grammar symbols. So it means it's the most generalized form, that anything can come here. Even a string can cover epsilon case, means nothing. Okay, because the string can be empty, or it can have one thing or multiple thing, and those things are grammar symbols. So it means those things can be terminal or non-terminal. Okay, for example, consider here A can have the form of A alpha, and this general notation is going to show that a non-terminal can have the form that first of all that non-terminal will come, and after that a string of grammar symbols will come. So for example, this thing is going to be according to this formula. EXP can have the form of EXP plus digit. So here EXP is a non-terminal, like this non-terminal is going to be represented here in a general form, and plus digit is representing a string of grammar symbols. Okay, so A can have the form of A alpha is just like EXP can have the form of EXP plus digit. And similarly, if for example if A can have the form of alpha, so it means a string of grammar symbol should come here on the right side of production. And if you see these two examples, then first example is not according to this, because here A can have the form of A alpha, his notation is going to shown here. So the second thing is according to this A can have the form of alpha, because alpha is a string of grammar symbols and that string can be empty. So this is according to this general form. EXP can have the form of epsilon. Okay, so let's revise concepts of left recursion which we have learned in last lecture. So we said that production is left recursive if it's in this form. A can have the form of A alpha, means the same non-terminal whose production is this one is going to start the right side of the production. Okay, so these both examples, EXP can have the form of EXP plus digit as well as EXP can have the form of EXP minus digit, are exactly according to these general notations. Okay, so how to remove left recursion from grammar? So here is the general formula. If some non-terminal in the form of A can have the form of A alpha, or A can have the form of A beta, or A can have the form of gamma. Okay, so here this non-terminal is in three forms. Two forms are recursive, whereas the third one is not the recursive production. Okay, so you will choose that production that is not recursive, means gamma. So you can say here that A can have the form of gamma and a new non-terminal, whatever the name use just for it. For example, I gave it the name in general notation capital B. Then that new non-terminal can have the form of whatever the remaining after that non-terminal are within each recursive production. Okay, so there are two recursive productions here. A can have the form of A alpha, so on the right side of the production you will find A alpha. So after A you get just alpha. Okay, so B can have the form of alpha B. Okay, and similarly B can have the form of beta B, or B can have the form of epsilon. So it's the general formula to remove left recursion from grammar. As you can see here, I have put it this equal sign between these two grammars, so it is going to show that this left recursive grammar is exactly equivalent to this grammar, whereas this resultant grammar is not left recursive. However, if you see it with some deep concern, that you will see that this the equivalent grammar is right recursive. Okay, because B can have the form of alpha B as well as B can have the form of beta B. These two productions are right recursive. Okay, so this resultant grammar is right recursive, but it doesn't matter that it is going to be converted in right recursion, because right recursion is not it does not have any problem for us to implement predictive parser, but a predictive parser cannot be implemented for left recursive grammar. So it means if there is left recursion in your grammar, then first of all that left recursion should be removed from grammar in order to implement predictive parser for that grammar. Okay, so I repeat, the general formula to remove left recursion from grammar is A can have the form of A alpha, or you can say gamma. For example, there are two productions. A can have the form of A alpha and the second production is gamma. Then the resultant grammar should be A can have the form of gamma capital B, where capital B can have the form of alpha capital B or epsilon. Okay, so this will be the formula when there are only two productions of that non-terminal. One production is left recursive and other one is not left recursive, whereas the formula which is shown here is for three productions in which two productions are left recursive and one production is not left recursive. Okay, and you can generalize this thing. For example, there are four productions in which three productions are left recursive, but the last production should be not left recursive, otherwise this formula cannot be implemented on it. Okay, so there must be one production that should not be left recursive. Okay, so according to this formula, if we find such grammar, we can remove left recursion from it. So if exp can have the form of exp plus digit, or exp can have the form of exp minus digit, or exp can have the form of digit, then it means exp can be in three forms, or there are three productions for expression. Okay, in first two productions there is left recursion, whereas the third production is not left recursive. Okay, so according to that formula, we can have the equivalent grammar that is after removing left recursion, and that grammar should be expression can have the form of digit and some other non-terminal. You can say that non-terminal rest of the thing, so you can name it as rest. Okay, so exp can have the form of digit rest, where rest can have the form of, so you will see the first production's right side, and after removing this non-terminal, whatever the remaining thing is, okay, means plus digit, so the rest can have the form of plus digit rest. Okay, and similarly rest can have the form of minus digit rest, as well as there must be another production of rest, and that is rest can have the form of epsilon. Okay, so this is the way you can remove left recursion from grammar. So in last of this lecture, I will try to give you an idea of first function that is also necessary in order to implement a predictive parser. So for example, there is a non-terminal A, capital A in a grammar, and you want to implement the function first on it. Then the first of A returns the set of all tokens by which A can start. Okay, and there is a special case, and that case is if there is such epsilon production of A, then epsilon will also be included in the set in the resultant set of first of A. Okay, so for example, in this grammar, we want to get the first of exp as well as first of term as well as first of digit, means we want to get the first function for each non-terminal. Okay, so first of exp, for in order to get the first tokens by which the expression can start, we have to see the productions of expression. So exp can have the form of exp plus term, so it means the production is going to be started from exp. So of course first of exp can have the form of first of exp. It doesn't make sense, so it is not going to give any token here. So we see the next production. Similarly, the next production is also going to be started from exp, and finally the third production is going to be started from term. So exp can have the form of term. So here we get something that first of exp can start from first of term. But when we are looking towards first of term, then again there are two productions that are again starting from term, so we are not getting any significant information from here. But there is another production, term can have the form of digit, and by the help of this production you can say that first of term is equal to first of digit. Okay, and you can directly calculate first of digit from this grammar, because a digit can start from token 0 or digit can start from token 1, because here two productions of digit are, digit can have the form of 0 and digit can have the form of 1, where 0 and 1 are tokens. Okay, so it means we can say first of digit is a set containing two tokens, 0 and 1. Okay, and since first of term is equal to first of digit, that's why first of term is also equal to 0 1, the set containing 0 1. And similarly, because first of exp is equal to first of term, and that's also equal to first of digit, and that is a set 0 1, so that's why the same answer is for first of exp. Okay, so I hope you get an idea of first function. Okay, so in next lecture we will apply these all concepts to implement a predictive parser practically. Thank you.